What's up? Welcome back, YouTube. Today is going to be just like a little chit chat, life update kind of a video. I am currently in where am I? I'm in San Antonio, Texas. This is like the 5th city that I've been in the past 7 days. I was in Georgia, back to North Carolina for like 10 hours, Florida. Now I'm in Texas, in San Antonio right now, and then I'll be going to Houston, and then finally back home at the end of the week. I'm currently here for work, which brings me to my next point. Whenever I started this video series, it was mainly started because I was online coaching, working with D, and I had some clients, really clients all over. I was handling a lot of her social media, and so a lot of our new clients, she was kind of giving them to me. And so I had a lot of clients that like didn't really know me, didn't know anything about me. So I started this series to kind of share more about myself and my life, and so that they could get to know me better. Things have changed since then. A lot has changed since then. I'm not really even doing any online coaching right now. Let me back up a little bit. I work in healthcare. I've worked in healthcare ever since I graduated college. So like the last 10 years, I've been in healthcare sales mainly. Currently, I'm working in more of a healthcare business development role. I open dialysis centers. Specifically, I open dialysis centers in nursing homes. The sales aspect of my job is finding nursing homes to partner with. Once I find a nursing home to partner with, then my job kind of transitions into more of like a project management type role. So I oversee, well, there's an aspect of reconstructing part of the building into a dialysis center. I oversee that. I kind of do some design work as far as picking out flooring and cabinetry and paint and all of that. I love that part of it. And then there's staffing, recruiting, finding people to work in the dialysis center, marketing the program out in the community with hospitals and referral partners to be able to find patients to fill up the dialysis centers that need to be treated there. What else? Logistics, getting all of the equipment, the machines there, the supplies, analytics, monthly reporting to ownership, things like that. I love my job. I've loved working in healthcare, and especially with what I'm doing now. Previously, I was working in, I've done all types of healthcare sales. I started in medical billing, revenue cycle management, technology solutions for large healthcare facilities like hospital systems and things like that. Then I was working in pharmaceutical sales, med device. I used to work in the OR. I've only been with this company for about a year, a little over a year, and I love my job. I get so much fulfillment out of what I do. I get experience in so many different areas, and it's something new every day, which is awesome for someone like me. Like, I get bored doing the same thing for too long. That's probably why I've like bounced around so much. My job is very rewarding because I really feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives. I don't know if you know anything about dialysis, because I didn't know shit about dialysis whenever I first started, but patients who are on dialysis, it's brutal. They're going at least 3 times a week. They're sitting for treatment for like 8 to 9 hours. It's a very aggressive treatment. Your kidneys function 24/7. For somebody who's on dialysis and conventional dialysis, where they're going and they're getting treatment 3 days a week, you're trying to mimic the 24/7 function of your kidneys 3 days a week. So it's very aggressive. It's pulling a lot of fluid off the body. And especially for patients that are elderly or that are in nursing homes and skilled nursing facilities, those patients are the sickest of the sick. They have a lot of comorbidities, and it's just very hard for them. Conventional dialysis is very hard for them to recover. They go three days a week. They spend their entire day there. And then afterwards, they feel like shit for an entire day. What we do is bringing the dialysis to them, essentially. They get to get dialyzed in their homes instead of having to be transported out to these outpatient facilities. And we dialyze patients every day instead of just 3 days a week. So it's a lot gentler treatment. Patients recover in like 2 hours or less as compared to patients that do conventional dialysis, and it takes them a day and a half to recover. It's hard going into a lot of these facilities and seeing our patients and seeing how sick they are. That's hard to see, but like I said, it is very humbling, and it's very rewarding knowing that we're making some kind of difference in their life. Like, they don't have it easy, but at least we're trying to make it like a little bit better for them because they recover faster. They're able to participate in their therapy and rehab and like visit with their families. They can play games and do activities and stuff. And it just really makes their quality of life a lot better than what it was if they're going out for conventional dialysis. So I get a lot of fulfillment out of what I do. And that kind of brings me to coaching. Coaching has always been, I don't know, like a passion project for me, so to speak. Even whenever I first got certified as a personal trainer and I was working in a gym, that's never been like my main source of income. I've always had a job in healthcare, and then that has kind of just been supplemental, a way for me to make extra money and just something that I enjoyed doing. Like, I've always loved working out and taking care of myself, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get certified and help other people do the same thing. And so I have enjoyed that a lot over the years, but like I said, it's kind of just been like an additional thing that I've done. It's never been like my sole focus. So I've done a lot of different things over the year. I've been a personal trainer in a gym. I've done my own online coaching. I had an app for a while. Then I was working with Dee. I was handling all of her social media, getting clients for her, bringing clients in for our team. And then I started coaching under her. And things have changed. A lot has changed since I first started this series. I'm no longer working with Dee. I'm no longer being coached by Dee, and I'm no longer coaching under her. I was going to immediately start my own online coaching and just kind of like do my own thing, but I've kind of taken a step back. Things for me career-wise are going amazing right now. Like I said, I really love my job. There's a lot of opportunity for growth in what I do, and that's kind of just my main focus right now. Because I work in the business development side of things, we're in 14 states and over 200 locations. I travel a lot. And so that was also difficult with coaching and just like trying to balance it and like really be as attentive as I needed to be or wanted to be as a coach and as involved as I wanted to be. And then even with coaching, there's so much that goes into that. Like, yeah, I could manage my clients, but like, as a coach, you have to constantly be marketing yourself, and that in today's world is a lot of social media marketing and like creating content and like doing all of these things to market your services and to get more clients. And it was just getting to be a lot for me, trying to focus on my job and to do well in my full-time job that was like literally paying my bills and keeping the lights on, and traveling and being busy with that and making sure that I was constantly being present in my job, and then like try to do all of these other things to grow another business. Like, it was just too much, especially coupled with what I'm about to get into. I'm no longer working with Dee. I'm no longer being coached by Dee. Where do I want to go with this? Bodybuilding. I thought that I would never compete again. Like, I competed once. It's when I first started my YouTube channel, was after I had competed the first time, and I was starting this series. I had just done one competition. I was getting ready to prep for another competition. And then over the course of like 2 years, I was putting out videos occasionally, like very sporadically, prepping for like all of these different competitions that I never even ended up doing. I felt very lost in this sport. I didn't feel like I belonged. I don't know. I just didn't really see where I fit in. So let me rewind back even further, back to like 2020, whenever COVID happened. COVID and lockdown started in March of 2020. And in the very beginning of April 2020, I went through a horrible breakup. It was shit. I'm not gonna get into like a lot of like, I don't know, the specifics, the details of it now. I'm not gonna like talk shit or anything. We've been able to like find peace over the last year or so, and I would like to, preserve that. But I will just say that breakup was like really tough for me, especially the timing of it with COVID and lockdown happening and like living in Charlotte and being away from all of my family and everything. And I mean, that was whenever literally everything shut down. Like, the world shut down, and like a week later I went through a breakup. And so I went from this person I was almost like practically living with, like together all the time, and then I was like completely alone. And nobody was doing shit then. Like, people were even scared to just like hang out together because the news was telling us like, you're gonna die. And there was like a death ticker on the news 24/7. So nothing was going on. It was just like a very, very low point in my life. And given the circumstances of the breakup, I was feeling like shit about myself afterwards. Like, I had so many insecurities, and I don't know, I didn't like myself. During that time, I would say maybe June, so like a couple months after that breakup, I went to my first bodybuilding competition. It was really weird compared to like how things are now, because it was still kind of like, I guess things had kind of started to like open back up then, but not like normal like they are now. It was some weird little dinky show, no offense, in South Carolina. And basically whenever I had my first job as a personal trainer, I became friends with obviously all the other personal trainers, and I stayed in touch with them over the years, and one of them was competing. I knew nothing about bodybuilding at the time. I actually thought they were all kind of like nuts. But one of my friends was competing, and I wanted to go and show support, and I loved it. Looking back now, the show that I went to compared to like some of the other shows that I've seen, I think it's funny how like mesmerized I was by that show then, because I'm like, it was, no offense, but it was like nothing compared to some of the other shows I've been to. But I just got extremely motivated. And one of the things that I loved the most about it that day was just how it really seemed like a community. And I think I was so desperate at that time to like be a part of something. I felt so alone. I'm going through that breakup and stuff, and then like being away from my family. And I had friends in Charlotte, but like not a lot, and like I was still somewhat new to Charlotte. Like I think I had been in Charlotte for like a couple of years at that point, but like I had just been in this relationship for like 6 months, and like that was like everything kind of like revolved around that, and like I just didn't really create much of a life for myself socially outside of that. So I went through like a period of like extreme isolation. So when I went to that competition and saw like how supportive everybody was of each other, it was just very inspiring and motivating, and like I said, it made me like want to be a part of something. Also, I had just gone through this breakup where I was feeling like complete shit about myself, very insecure, and I'm like, I see all of these like fit, hot people, and I'm like, oh, I want to do this. Like in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to prep for a competition. I'm going to do a competition. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life, and I'm just going to look hot on stage in a bikini. I knew nothing about bodybuilding. I remember whenever I was telling my friends like, oh, I want to try this, and they're like, okay, what division do you want to do? Do you want to do bikini? And I'm like, wasn't it all bikini? Like they're all wearing bikinis. I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know the different divisions. I didn't know the criteria. Like I literally knew nothing. So I remember I talked to my friends. I'm like, hey, I think I want to do this. They connected me with a coach, their coach. I sent her a message and was like, hey, I want you to get me ready to compete. She had me come meet her, and she tried to talk me out of it first. She was like, why do you want to do this? And she was really trying to talk me out of it, like telling me how hard it is, what all goes into it. And I'm like, I don't care, like, I want to do it. So that's whenever I started working with my first coach and started prepping for my first competition in June or July of 2020. During that time, still, like, a lot of the gyms weren't even open back up yet. Yeah, I don't think most gyms were not even open yet. I don't even know how that competition was like able to be had. Like I remember it was like extremely limited by like the number of spectators. Everybody had to wear masks. It was like socially distanced. There just was not a lot of people there. But yeah, I remember the gyms were still closed because I had to get a membership at a private gym to even be able to like start prepping for a competition. But so anyways, during this period of time, I'm like still going through depression over like this breakup and like just feeling awful about myself and like being away from my family. And really, I just wasn't happy with like where I was at the time in my life. And one of the people that I leaned on the most was one of my best friends in Charlotte at the time, Bibi. She was also going through a breakup. Hers was like a little bit of a different situation, on again, off again kind of a thing. Mine was just off. Like we broke up and it was done. Her and I really leaned on each other a lot during that time because we were going through similar things. She is somebody that I always looked up to a lot, especially business-wise. She was an entrepreneur. She had all these businesses and sources of income and everything. And like she was such a hustler, and I admired that a lot about her. And that's when I started the Ass Cheeks thing. So Ass Cheeks, the nickname came from my siblings and one of my friends, Kelsey, shout out to Kelsey, whenever I was in high school, she started calling me Ass Cheeks. So I always had that nickname, and I got this idea. I've had the idea for years. I want to say it started in like 2017. I was like, oh, I want to turn Ass Cheeks into something. That was right around the time whenever Brazilian bikinis were really becoming a thing. Now it's like thong bikinis, whatever. But I was like, oh, I'm going to start a line of Brazilian bikinis called ass cheeks. That was like 3 years prior. Then I ended up telling BB about the idea and she loved it. She took it and ran with it, almost to the point where I was like, hey, wait a second, like, you're not gonna hijack my idea from me. She was like looking at manufacturers and stuff. We were like designing bikinis. And then I was like, hey, I'm gonna prep for this bodybuilding competition. I'm gonna do a bikini competition. And she was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be perfect. You're gonna establish a name for yourself as ass cheeks in the bikini bodybuilding world. And then we're gonna start this line of bikinis. And that was like our little business plan. I was like, July of that year. 2 months later, she got murdered. So imagine I'm going through this breakup that I'm like depressed over. I'm leaning on like one of my best friends who's also going through a breakup. She's upset over. And then the guy that she's upset over murders her. It was like fucking traumatizing. Like, I look back now and I'm like I don't think I even really realized at the time how much it impacted me. I didn't realize, like, I had never been through anything like that. Like, that was the closest loss that I had ever had up until that point. Like, I had lost like my grandpa before, but like never somebody so close to me, and so close to me like in age, and then to like in such a awful way to be murdered. Like, so that really fucked me up. I mean, even at the time, I don't think it fucked me up as much as it does now, or like has over the years. And by that, I mean, like, yeah, it was like a traumatic situation, but like for so long, for like years, in my mind, death is like right around the corner. Like, oh, I could die tomorrow, which in some ways is good. Don't waste time, live your life to the fullest, whatever, go the fuck after everything that you want while you can. Amazing, but also just really fucked with me mentally. And I think having bodybuilding at that time and having something to like focus on is really what helped me survive that period of time, because I was mentally in such a low place. Like, I was in such a low place and trying to like fake, not consciously, like, oh, I'm faking all of this positivity. Like, I think I was literally trying to be like such this optimistic, spread love and positivity person, because inside I was feeling like fucking shit. Horrible. Like, I felt so alone and isolated and scared and confused and traumatized. Like, having something to focus on is really what helped me survive that period of time. And it was something like every day, whenever, if I would like get up in the morning, like I didn't even want to get out of bed. Like, I was so depressed, but I knew like, okay, I have to get up and like do my cardio, or I have to go to the gym. And then even like changing that way of thinking, that I have to do this. I was like, no, I get to get up today. My friend didn't get to wake up today. A lot of people didn't get to wake up today, but I did. Like, I better fucking do something with it. It really got me through that period of time in my life. But I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. I knew nothing about the sport. I knew nothing about the different divisions. I knew nothing about the criteria. I knew I was prepping for a bikini competition, but like, I didn't know what that meant. I aside from that one competition that I had been to, and my friend competed in figure, so like I didn't even really see, I'm sure I saw the bikini girls that day, but like I didn't know the difference between all of the different divisions. I had worked out for years, but like even in the gym, I never trained with much intentionality. Oh, I'm just like trying to stay in shape. I did a lot of cardio, but like I definitely didn't have any type of training program, or I wasn't trying to build any certain type of physique. Really, I was doing what my coach told me to do, or was like guiding me to do, but I didn't know if that was right. I didn't know right from wrong, or like what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't even know what like a good coach was, or like what I should be looking for in a coach. I was just following everything that was recommended to me blindly. So I get through that period of time in my life, surviving, prepping for this competition. I do my first competition in April of 2021, and I did fucking horrible. Looking back now, like at the pictures and stuff, going into it, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna get in the best shape of my life and like look hot in a bikini on stage. And granted, I did get in the best shape of my life up until that point. Looking back now, like at pictures and stuff, and knowing what I know now, I'm like, who the fuck let me get up there? Like, I had no business competing. I had no business being on stage, but I didn't know enough to know that. Like, my coach made the mistake of telling me, I can get you ready for stage in 8 weeks. So to me, I was like, okay, well, like I can fuck around until 8 weeks out. I think even she said like 6 weeks or something like that. So I literally did. Like, I fucked around the whole time. I would say like I prepped for this competition from June of 2020, June or July of 2020 to April of 2021. And I had my meal plan and everything, but I didn't know anything about nutrition. I didn't know anything about like even preparing my food. So I didn't enjoy my meals. So I was constantly eating other shit, especially sweets. Like I struggled so much with sweets. And especially when I get emotional, like I'm sad or I'm angry or whatever, I want something sweet. At that time when I was like going through all this shit, I remember I was like going to Harris Teeter and getting like a bag of chocolate covered peanuts or a box of their fresh chocolate chip cookies or like the little mini ones with the M&Ms and eat the whole fucking thing. Sometimes I would go get like one of those cookie cakes like loaded up with icing and eat half of it. Like, and this is while I'm like prepping for a competition. In my mind, I'm like, oh, like she told me, you know, really I just need to take it seriously like 6 weeks out. She told me she could get me ready in 6 weeks. So like I can do, you know, like a half-assed job until 6 weeks out, which you can't fucking do that. So another thing was I knew nothing about posing. I think I already mentioned that. And I was going to like all of these posing coaches and stuff that like, no shade to anybody, but like they weren't preparing me right for the competition either. Like the poses, like I look at my stage shots from that competition, the poses that I was doing, knowing what I know now, are like 7 years old. Like that's not even how they pose for the division anymore. So I fucked around and found out that I sucked. And so I think that's why after that, I didn't compete again for a long time. Like I remember whenever I did that show in April of 2021, the plan was for me to compete in Tampa in July or August of that year, like several months later. And that's whenever I started my YouTube channel and stuff. And I started this like the Tampa extravaganza. Like I was going to prep for this competition and stuff. After that first show and like how shitty I did and just like feeling like I knew that like I didn't belong there, like especially with like my physique at the time and just knowing what I knew, which was nothing. I just felt like I didn't belong. I didn't fit in. I couldn't figure out like where I fit into the sport. And so I was like, I'm just not going to do this anymore. A couple of times over the years, I would just get like a random hair up my ass and be like, okay, I want to do this again. Like I want to do a competition. And it was usually focused around me wanting to like get back in shape. Like maybe I had kind of fallen off for a little while. I would go through like a month or so where I was out partying. And again, like I'm still dealing with all of this trauma and like depression and stuff like that I never really dealt with. I just tried to like cover it up with like, and just like be in survival mode, like focusing on this competition and stuff like that. But then doing dumb things like eating a whole fucking box of cookies whenever I would get upset, or a cookie cake, going out and partying like on the weekends, like whenever I was feeling lonely or whatever. And whenever I would like fall off and like look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh my God, like I've gained 20 pounds or whatever, then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do a competition, like I'm gonna prep again. But I never had the right intentions there. I don't think I was ever really doing it for myself. And then again, I just didn't know enough about the sport to know what I was doing or to like really have a solid direction. Back in whenever it was that I moved to Florida, was that 2022, I think I moved to Florida in 2022. I started working in med device sales and I was working in the OR. And I sold sutures for spine surgeries and joint replacement surgeries. Sutures, like what they use to like sew you up at the end. So like my product that the doctor used, they only use at the very end of the surgery. For joint replacement surgeries, it's usually like the surgeries are like a couple hours long. So I'd be standing around in the OR for 2 hours for 10 minutes for like my job. Like I'm just standing around waiting for 2 hours for me to be relevant for 10 minutes. Spine surgeries, even worse, 8 to 10 hours at least. I had to, I don't know, keep myself entertained while I'm standing around in the OR. And I had like my little iPad that I used to sell my shit and like show the doctors videos of like the products and stuff like that. And I had YouTube. So that's whenever I started really getting into YouTube, and I started following all of these bikini bodybuilders on YouTube, like Laura Lee Chapados. That was like the main one that I was following. Then Jennifer Dory, Janet. Those were like my main three that I was like obsessed with. And like I watched all of their videos, and that's whenever I really started actually learning about bikini bodybuilding as a sport. I learned what the criteria was. I learned what the nutrition programming should look like. I learned what the training program was like. I learned way more about the posing. Still didn't know how to do it. I fucking sucked at it. But that's really whenever I really started learning a lot about the sport. I still had no desire to compete, or I just didn't think that I could. Like I didn't think that I was good enough, but I was so into it. I loved following it. I was like watching all of the competitions, like keeping up with all of the competitors. Like that's how I kept myself entertained in the OR, like 5 days a week. Whenever I was just standing around for hours and hours, I was watching bikini bodybuilding videos, and still never thought that I would compete again. I'm in Florida for a little while, then I moved back to Charlotte. That's whenever I got reconnected back to my old coach, started working with her again. It was nice having somebody to work with again, like especially for the accountability purposes. And I like having like a meal plan to follow and a training program to follow. That was one of the things that I liked the most about the competition the first time. Like I liked the process of it. I liked the structure that it gave to my life. I hated the competition part. I just felt so cheesy, like in the bikini and the spray tan and like all this, and especially the posing, like especially because I was so fucking bad at it. Like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I was being sent to, no offense, but like people who also didn't really know what the fuck they were doing. And so I just looked dumb. Like, and who wants to do something where you look dumb? Like, so I started working with this coach again with no intentions of competing. It was really just lifestyle coaching. I was working with a trainer again a couple of times a week, and I loved the structure that it gave me again. And that's kind of whenever I was wanting to like get back into coaching again. I had moved back to Charlotte. I had just started this new job, and the commission structure was a lot different from what I was used to with pharmaceutical and med device sales. It was like a way longer sales cycle. Like in med device and pharmaceutical sales, you're getting your commission every quarter. With what I do now, like whenever I first started this job, it's totally different. Like I get paid when I open a new facility. Opening a new facility, like I just told you everything that goes into it, reconstruction, marketing, staffing, logistics, all of that shit. It can take months. So I wanted to start coaching again because, well, one, I was like learning a lot more. I wanted to start this bikini program. Like I was like, I know there's a lot of girls like me that maybe like the bikini body physique, the overall, like the all about the balance and the symmetry and all of that, but like maybe they don't necessarily want to compete, or they don't want to get stage lean, or they don't want to put in the work and do everything that it takes to be able to compete, but they want to have a similar physique. I got the idea for the My Bikini Body program, pitched the idea to my coach at the time because I didn't have enough confidence to really do it on my own, like especially with the nutrition part of it. I didn't know enough about nutrition and like programming meal plans and stuff like that to really be able to do it on my own. My coach loved the idea. We started that program. That's how I started online coaching. That's whenever I started doing this YouTube series again. Had no intentions of competing. But all the while, I'm still like following all these bikini body competitors on Instagram and YouTube and everything. And like I always had it in the back of my mind, but I just never thought that like I was good enough to be able to do it, or like I really had what it took or anything. I had no confidence in myself to be able to do it myself. I want to say maybe, I don't know, this probably started the last like 6 months or so. It was end of summer, fall of 2023. Again, I was starting to go through depression again. I had extreme anxiety about what I was doing with my life, and like, especially my age, and like being 30, at that time I was 32, I hadn't turned 33 yet, and like being single, and like a lot of my girlfriends are like married and have kids or whatever, and like people that I could go out with and like socialize with and stuff like that, but they're like way younger than me. So I just felt like I was in this like really weird place in my life. I was still new in my job. Like I had just started this new career that I was kind of like unsure about. I was just learning a lot, really. And I just really felt lost in life overall. And that was making me feel extremely anxious. I wasn't going to therapy at the time. Back to like 2020, whenever the stuff happened, like whenever my friend got killed, actually it was 2021 was whenever I started therapy again for the first time. I started BetterHelp whenever, back in 2021, I think after I competed the first time. Met this therapist that I loved. She really helped me get through some difficult times in my life, like especially with the like breakup and the dealing with the death of my friend, and just like all of the anxiety and sadness that I had from that. I fucking love Deb. Like got to talk to her every single week, and that's really what helped get me through that period of time. Then whenever I decided that I wanted to move to when I decided to move to Florida, I had to stop seeing her because she wasn't licensed in Florida. She was only licensed in North Carolina. And the idea of starting over again, you know, like whenever people are in a relationship for years and years and years, and it's like a shitty relationship, and they know that they should leave the relationship, but you have so much invested, so much time invested, you don't want to start over with someone new. That's how I felt about therapy. I loved working with Deb, and every time that I saw her every single week, so she knew my whole life, like back to whenever I was a child. We were dealing a lot with like my childhood trauma and like things that had happened whenever I was a kid that really affected the way that I am today, the way that I form relationships, the way that I communicate in relationships, which is fucking horrible. That's something that I'm working on. I didn't want to start over again with somebody new. Like I was like, oh my God, like I have to go all the way back to the beginning. Like fuck that. I didn't go to therapy for a long time. And then back, you know, end of summer, fall 2023, whenever I'm like feeling super anxious and depressed again. I remember one time I was standing in my closet at night, folding clothes, like doing some bullshit, really just trying to avoid going to bed because I was like, oh my God, I would rather drop dead right now than go get in bed alone, like, and spend another night alone. And I meant it. And that scared the shit out of me. Not that like I would ever do anything crazy, but I just like I was just feeling so low. It scared me like how low I was feeling. And I was like, okay, I have to do something about this. So that's whenever I got back into therapy. Actually, that's whenever I found Deb again. I was like, holy shit. Before I found Deb again, I just tried like BetterHelp again. I did Talkspace. I got matched with like a couple of different therapists, but I just like wasn't clicking with anybody. And anyways, I ended up finding Deb again. Somehow like BetterHelp, she had left BetterHelp. Whenever I reached out to them to try to find her, they like wouldn't give me any information about her because they were like, no, like we'll connect you with somebody new. And I was like, I don't want somebody new. Like I want my fucking girl back. And anyways, I went psycho and I found her. She was in Charlotte. I didn't even know she was in Charlotte. I just knew she was in North Carolina the first time because everything was virtual. Come to find out, she's in Charlotte. Her practice is like 2 miles from me. So I started going to therapy again, seeing Deb. But I also like wanted to have something to like focus on and like something to look forward to. Again, I just kind of felt really lost. Didn't feel excited to wake up every day. Like I wasn't excited to get out of bed and like go to work or like just go about my day. Like everything kind of felt mundane. Every day is Groundhog's Day or whatever. Going to therapy, trying to get my shit back together, but still kind of feeling lost. Started like coaching and stuff, doing the My Bikini Body program. And that was fun. Like I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely gave me fulfillment again. I felt like I was like making a positive impact in other people's lives and that was amazing, but like I didn't feel that great about my own life and like where I was. So then I also got reconnected with a friend of mine that I knew from back home whenever I was living in Indiana. I met him like whenever I was in college. He's a professional bodybuilder. I went to visit him. And I'm like in this place where I'm feeling so low and lost and just like hopeless and like needed something fucking positive to like look forward to. And we start talking about bikini again. And I don't know, he just really made me kind of like boosted my confidence because I definitely wasn't feeling confident at that point. But like, I feel like he saw potential in me and like he was, I don't know if excited about it is the right word, but like it made me excited about it. Like I was like, like I wonder if I could really do this. And I also was like, okay, I'm 33 years old in bikini bodybuilding. Like you compete till you're 35, and then after over 35, you're like considered in the master's division, whatever. Not that that's like a bad thing, but I was like, okay, I'm 33. I'm going to be turning 34. If I am going to do this, like I've thought about it on and off so many times over the years, but I've never like really, really taken it seriously. And I would hate to be 40 and be like, fuck, I wish I would have done that. So I'm like, okay, this could be my last shot. Like my last shot, so to speak. Like maybe I should really try to take this seriously and like really see what I can do. I wanted to work with somebody that really knew my division. I had spent years at that point following bikini bodybuilding, following the competitors. I had learned a lot about like what a training program should look like, what a meal plan should look like, what the posing is like. Not enough to like be able to do it myself, but like I knew what I should be looking for. That's how I got started with my current coach. I left my previous coach and the team that I was like coaching with, and I'm like, fuck it, like I'm just going to like give it my all and see what happens. So, new coaching announcement. Am I going to compete again? Yes. I started working with a new coach. I wanted to work with somebody who I felt aligned with. That's a nice way to put it. Whenever I decided like, okay, I'm gonna do this and like really try to take it seriously this time, I wanted to be working with someone whose plan I believed in and that I felt believed in me and that we were like aligned. That brings me to my current coach. So I'm now working with Ben Poole-Marini. He's an IFBB pro, men's physique. He coaches a lot of other athletes, team pro ops. I'll tag his Instagram and his team page, or you can find him online. I think it's teamproops.com. I'm not sure if that's like the exact website, but I'll look it up and like post the link at the bottom. So far, my experience has been amazing. Like, I've only been working with him for like a month, and the progress that I've made, and I've made more progress in a month and 4 weeks than I've made in like the last 4 years. This is definitely the best that I can say like I've ever stuck to a meal plan ever. Like, I think I mentioned that in my last video. I've never been able to say like, oh, I stuck to my meal plan 100%, because I wasn't. Like, I was always fucking cheating. But now, like, I do stick to my meal plan 100%. I'm never like tempted to like cheat or stray away from it. My training program, I know I can always be training harder and like push myself more and more in the gym, but like I'm finishing every single workout. I'm very intentional about every single workout and like making sure that I get everything in and like really try to make the most out of all of my workouts. I can't say enough good things about Ben, just like as a human being in general, but like especially as a coach. I've had such a positive experience, and it has been I feel like for like the last month or so, after going through, I would say like several months of like a lot of depression and anxiety, but really several years, like the last, ever since all of that stuff happened, like 2020, 2021, those were definitely like the roughest years of my life. And then I just feel like the last month or so, like having something to look forward to and like something to be excited about, like a purpose for my day. Every day whenever I wake up, like I'm excited to get up in the morning and do my cardio, which sounds crazy. Like, who the fuck looks forward to that? But just like having a plan and a purpose and something to look forward to, I have decided that I am going to compete this year. The plan right now is for me to do the Charlotte Cup again in April, which is awesome because that'll be 3 years from whenever I competed the first time. So I'm excited. So that's my plan. That's what's happening right now. I'm focused on my career in healthcare, business development. Love what I do. I'm focused on prepping for this competition and really learning. Like, I'm not doing the online coaching right now because I really just want to give this prep 100%. And I feel like trying to do my job and do well in my full-time job that's like paying my fucking bills and keeping the lights on, and then trying to prep for this competition and trying to grow my new, like, on my own online coaching business. It was just a lot and too many things at once. And again, I just needed like some solid direction. After feeling lost for so long, kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? Am I going here? Am I going there? Am I going, like, I need some stability and some structure. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Focusing on my career, focusing on prepping for this competition, and really just trying to learn as much as I can. I feel like I'm learning so much from Ben that's going to make me a lot better athlete. And then hopefully, if I do decide to again do my own online coaching again someday, I'll be a way better coach because of it, because I've learned so much more. Like I said, I've made so much more progress in the last couple weeks than I have in the last several years. So I'm excited to continue working with him and like trying to be the best that I can be and learn as much as I can and see where that takes me. If you are looking for an online coach, I highly, highly recommend Ben and Team Pro Ops, whether it be for like competing or lifestyle. Like I said, I could say so many wonderful things about him as a coach. He's amazing to work with. He's so detailed and involved, and like he handles everything, which is awesome, especially if you are a competitor. And like having a coach that does your training program and your meal plan, and then maybe you have a personal trainer, and then you have somebody else that does your posing. Like, having too many coaches, I feel like, is so conflicting sometimes, because like one person will tell you one thing and another person tells you another thing. Like, that was something that I was dealing with competing before. I'm like, well, so and so is telling me this, but so and so says I should be doing this, and it's like, so what the fuck do I do? Ben does it all, and he's good at fucking all of it. Like Ben's one of the best posers in the world. It's just awesome that he does everything. Like I said, he's very involved. He's very detailed. I check in with him like twice a week, and I always get detailed feedback. I remember one time I was working with this coach, and just temporarily whenever I was in Florida, and I would do my check-ins with him every single week, and I would get the same thing every week. Ashley, with a bunch of exclamation points. How are you feeling? And that was it. No feedback, no additional guidance, no nothing. So like, not that I'm comparing Ben to shit, but like, it has been amazing having somebody that gives me such like direct feedback and like very, very specific things to work on. And it makes it like, I don't know, just a lot more simple and easy to follow. Again, a plan that I believe in and that I'm aligned with, I feel like really helps keep me on track. Like I actually stick to what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm doing. And then seeing the progress, like, my God, I used to hate doing my check-in photos for years doing my check-in photos, whether it be whenever I was prepping for a competition or just like as a lifestyle client. I never looked forward to check-in. I hated check-in day. Some days I would just skip it and be like, you think anybody will notice? I hated it and I never saw progress. Like I could look at my pictures from like 1 week to the next and see no change. Yeah, if I looked at like, 1 week and then 8 weeks later, like I could see a little bit of a difference. Now, like I get excited, even just checking in from Tuesday to Saturday, like I know there's improvements there. And so I get excited to do it. Like I dreaded doing my check-in photos or like working on my posing because I felt so bad at it because I didn't know what I was doing and I was working with people who like didn't really know what they were doing either. And I know like I'm definitely nowhere near perfect. Like I still have so much to work on, but like I am seeing so much progress and it's keeping me motivated to like keep going. I'm like, damn, like maybe I could actually do this. Another thing that I love about Ben as a coach, really just like a human being in general, he acknowledges every single thing that I say. Like he definitely makes me feel like seen and heard, like he listens to what I'm saying. I know that if like he doesn't ever understand where I'm at or like how I'm feeling or whatever, it's because I'm not telling him, because he'll fucking listen if I talk about it. And that feels amazing, again, especially from having like previous experiences with coaches that are like, I get like my only communication throughout the whole week is, Ashley, what am I paying you for, to say my fucking name? Anyways, that's where I'm at. New coach, new team, really excited about it. Hopefully, if all goes well, doing another competition in April 2024. It'll be amazing because it's the Charlotte Cup again. It'll be exactly 3 years from when I competed the first time. I'm so excited to see the change. Just gives me some motivation again, like something to look forward to. I'm so excited about it. Again, Ben Quilmarini, can't recommend him enough. Team Pro Ops. If you're looking for an online coach, whether it be for competition or lifestyle, whatever, check him out. He's amazing. I can't say enough good things about him. I'm gonna try and like keep this series going. It's exactly, probably by the time I post this video, I'll be around 10 weeks out. Like I'll be 10 weeks out this Saturday and in like a really good spot. So I'm gonna keep trying to do one video every week, keeping you updated on my prep. It'll be something different every week. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on and tagging along. Come back next week. Like I said, hopefully I'll be posting another video every week until show day, and I'll keep you posted how it's all going. I hope you're having an amazing day, night, whatever time of the day it is whenever you're watching this. And in case no one has told you yet today, I love you. And it's a great day to have a great day.